Hello and good afternoon. This is Christian Wasinger coming to you today from my office right here in San Diego. I welcome you to this Google Hangout as we are discussing some of the principles that I am talking in my book, which is called 10 Ways to Reboot Your Mind for Success. Got a little haircut since then, so I might look a little different. I'm very excited for those of you that are on the Hangout itself. We have the opportunity for you to ask questions. So you can ask questions, you can simply type them in, and I will get to them, or I can also email you some answers to your questions. If you are just watching on my website, thenlpexpert.com, or 10 Ways to Reboot Your Mind, or maybe even on YouTube, welcome. Enjoy, and hopefully you are gaining a lot of new tools, techniques, and some new knowledge from this free hangout and webinar. Now, it doesn't matter if you have read my book or if you haven't read the book. I like to call the book a little plop-up book because you can plop it open anywhere and get something wonderful and amazing out of it. I want to start by telling you a little bit about how the book actually started to happen, and then we'll go on to some more tools that we go in detail a little later. So the book actually happened by having worked with clients one-on-one and them having wonderful results through the work that I've been doing with them. And I got asked more often if I have the things I tell them written down anywhere. And I didn't. And the more often I heard it, I just realized this is a sign. This is a sign for me that I need to start writing those things down, because clearly there are people who want that information. Clients and customers have told me they would like to share that information with others. So I decided it's time for me to write down that information and make it available to others. So that's how the book really started. The book is based on some basic principles of NLP and neuro-linguistic programming. And it is a very, very NLP light version, so it's by no means a textbook. It is very easy to understand. I want you to make sure that it is easy to understand. I share some of my favorite beliefs, tools, and techniques in the book with you. And I also share some stories, metaphors, and experiences from my personal life also, and how the principles have helped me. At times today, I will share a slide with you, a slideshow, a PowerPoint presentation, or keynote in my case, if you're a Mac person, to give some visuals to what it is that we are doing. So I would say, let's get started. So I'm just going to start by sharing the very first slide with you. And I would like to start out here with one of my favorite sayings, and it comes from Dr. Wayne Dyer, and you should be able to see it right now on the screen. And it says, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. What an amazing, powerful statement. So let me say that one more time. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Again, that is by Dr. Wayne Dyer. And when I work with people, they do come to me because they feel they are stuck in their lives somewhere. And we've all gone through those experiences where we just feel stuck and we don't know where to go and we don't know what to do, and perhaps we are finding ourselves in a rut and we don't know how to get out of it. And when we get stuck, it simply means that we get stuck in our thinking patterns. It simply means that we think the same thoughts over and over. And of course, the same thoughts are going to produce the same results. However, or I should say, and when we get stuck in our thinking, sometimes we get so stuck that we just circle around the problem over and over and over, and we just don't know how to get ourselves out of that. And that's where oftentimes I come in, because what I do when I work with people, I will challenge their reality. I will challenge their beliefs. Our experiences we have because of what we believe, and our beliefs, they reinforce the experiences that we have. And if we didn't have the beliefs we have, we wouldn't have the experiences we have. So we may get stuck in certain beliefs, and those beliefs become our reality. Now, those are only our own personal beliefs, and sometimes those beliefs, they may not necessarily be very helpful anymore. So what I do is I like to challenge those beliefs, and I would like to challenge those realities that people have, so that they can see that there are other choices, other options, other beliefs, other ways to look at things. And then when we look at things a different way, bam, all of a sudden we start getting different results. Just as that quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Now, as I've told you, everything that I do in my sessions and work on, I basically come from a standpoint of neuro-linguistic programming. So now, what is neuro-linguistic programming really? Neuro-linguistic programming is defined as the study of subjective experience, how we all individually experience life, and how we give meaning to our experiences, and how we behave and respond to the meaning we have given our experiences. Neuro refers to how the brain works, and that our thought processes demonstrate consistent and detectable patterns. The linguistic part refers to the verbal and nonverbal expressions of our thinking patterns. And programming simply means that once these patterns are recognized and once they are understood, they can be changed. So that is what neuro-linguistic NLP is all about. So let's go over that one more time in simple terms. NLP is how we take in information, how we give meaning to that information, how we process that information, and then how we respond based on the meaning that we have given that information. Now, in NLP, we can easily also explain that through what is called the model of communication, the NLP model of communication, and I would like to share that with you also on the screen. And let me go, let's see, where do we have that? Here it is. So I would like for you to imagine we are bombarded by external events right over here, and hopefully you can see that with my cursor. External events. Now, we experience life obviously through all 5 of our senses, through our seeing, our hearing, our feelings, our physical touch, also through taste and through our smell. We are bombarded with 2 million bits of information per second. Our mind, however, only takes in 7 plus minus 2 of those chunks of information. Now, when we take in information, and as we take in information, there's one thing that we do right away, which is up here. We filter that information. And what we do is we delete, distort, and generalize information. The way we do this is we take in information and we run it through the filters that we have, and these filters are down here. So it could be our memories or past experiences. Another filter could be our values and our beliefs, our attitudes, the way we experience language. And there is some missing, I see right now, our NLP meta programs, which would be a whole different story. So we also filter our experiences that way. So what we then do is we delete, distort, and generalize that information. What that means is we delete information that we really don't need, that we think is unimportant for us. So there's no reason for us to hold on to that. We generalize information. We like to put information into boxes, into categories, so we can make it fit within our beliefs, with our values. And then at other times we distort information. So it again fits our model of the world, and that's much of an NLP term, the model of our world. And we want to make information fit so it makes sense for us. So let's go back. We have an external event. We take in that information, we run it through our filters, we delete, distort, and generalize the information, and we create an internal representation of that event, which in turn will create a state of mind. Now, the reason why we have the arrows going both ways here is because we could also get first into a specific state of mind, and then that could create an internal representation. So it could be one way or the other. Now, based on our state of mind and our internal representation that we have made up about the experience, our physiology changes. So for example, if we have an external event and it's a dog attacking you and you're scared of dogs, you run that through your filters, you probably have somewhere a memory of maybe having been scared by a dog or bitten by a dog. So you're creating that internal representation, that state of mind, meaning I have to be afraid, and then your physiology changes so it will match the I have to be afraid state of mind. So perhaps your muscles are starting to tensing and tightening up. So your physiology now has changed, and then based on your state of mind and your physiology, you start over here to behave and respond to the external event. Now we all process information that same way. We do it all the time, and it happens in nanoseconds. So one more time, we take in information, we filter it by running it through those filters, we delete, distort, and generalize that information, we create an internal representation of the event, and that in turn changes our state of mind, which affects our physiology, and based on our state of mind and physiology, we are responding and behaving to what is happening to us. So we do that all the time, and it happens unconsciously. Now, when we talk about our mind, and especially in the book 10 Ways to Reboot Your Mind for Success, I'm really referring to the subconscious mind. It is the subconscious mind that is really running the show. Now, most people are very well educated about our conscious, critical, analytical mind. However, many people are not well informed of and about the subconscious mind. So I'd like to educate you a little bit and share the information that I know about the conscious and the subconscious mind, and I'll give you again a little bit of that slide that might be helpful as a visual guide for you. So here we go. Let's go to our next slide, and let's talk first about the primary functions of the conscious mind. Now, I want you to realize that we are not born with our conscious mind. The conscious mind is something that we learn and is fully developed at around the age of 7. Now, this will make sense in just a moment. If you look at the primary functions of the conscious mind, number 1, the conscious mind is here to look, listen, and learn. It's here to reason and judge. It is here to criticize and analyze, and also it's here to accept and reject. So that is what the subconscious mind is here to do. And if you think about it, the subconscious mind always I apologize. The conscious mind is here to reason, to accept, to reject, to criticize, to analyze. If you think of a 4 or 5-year-old child, they don't have the ability yet. They don't reason, they don't judge. They just accept anything that kind of is presented to them. You tell a 4 or 5-year-old there is Santa Claus, and you tell them there is a tooth fairy, they believe you. They don't criticize or analyze that information yet. So at that point, children operate from the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the part of mind that we are all born with. And let's look for a moment at what the primary functions of the subconscious mind are. So the primary functions of the subconscious mind. Number one, the subconscious mind regulates all of our bodily functions. You don't have to think about breathing. You don't have to think about digesting your food or your heart pumping blood. All of that is regulated by the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind also acts like a memory bank. All of your memories and all of your experiences are stored in your subconscious mind. You may not be consciously aware of them. However, they are there. You may have thought that you've forgotten certain things, but they're still stored away. It could be perhaps a song that triggers a memory, and all of a sudden you remember everything of that experience. So it means it was still there. You just kind of needed the right trigger to bring that memory back. The subconscious mind is also the seat of our feelings and emotions. Feelings and emotions are part of the subconscious mind. Anytime we are in an emotional state, we are not in our conscious mind. We're not in a logic, analytical state of mind. So, very important. The subconscious mind is also like a servant acting on any image, idea, or concept we tell it. And last but not least, from birth till death, the subconscious mind always does, has, and will move into the direction of your most dominant thoughts. No matter what those thoughts are, your subconscious mind keeps moving into the direction of your most dominant thoughts. And you may have heard the numbers. I do believe it is 60,000 thoughts that we have a day, and 90% of the thoughts that we have had are the same thoughts that we've had the day before today, yesterday, the day before yesterday, and so on. So if you think about that, that's quite a surprising or an extraordinary number. So the thing about our thoughts is our thoughts really have no power over us only if we believe those thoughts to be true and to be real. So right now, for example, as an adult, the thought of Santa Claus being real has absolutely no power over you because you no longer believe it. However, at one point or another, you probably believed that to be your truth, your reality. That was your model of the world until you were proven differently. So the subconscious mind is really the powerful part here, and it does move always into the direction of your most dominant thoughts, which can be a wonderful thing, but it can also be a scary thing. If you think for a moment, what are your most dominant thoughts that you have? The most dominant thoughts that you have about life, about prosperity, about success, about yourself. What is it that you think about yourself? Are your thoughts, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not blank enough, whatever that might be for you? Or are your most dominant thoughts about yourself, I'm amazing, I can do anything I put my mind to? Are those very positive thoughts you have about yourself? Now, I feel like the majority of people, there's probably some negative thinking patterns in there, so we do want to change that. And I'm starting out with language today because I believe it's one of the most powerful ways of how we can turn things around for us. So let's have a look here what's next on our slide. So let's just go back here to the slide and let's see what's coming up next. Oh, we already had all of that. And now we're going to talk about the subconscious mind. So let's talk about the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind takes language literal. The subconscious mind takes language literal, and it takes also feelings as a fact. The subconscious mind also doesn't know a negative. Now, let's stop there for a second, because that is quite important. The subconscious mind does not know a negative. So let me give you an example. Let me say to you a sentence right now, and I would like for you to just notice what the very first thought you have is. And the sentence I'm going to give you is, don't think of a cookie. What is the very first thing you thought of? Of course, you thought of a cookie. The subconscious mind does not know a negative. So if, even though I ask you not to think of a cookie, the mind kind of goes, not, don't, I don't know what that means, I need more information. Then it hears think. And the mind goes, okay, I have to think of something. What do I have to think of? And the next thing you heard was cookie. So your mind thinks of a cookie, even though I told you not to think of a cookie. Now, you may go somewhere else right after that because you realize the mistake you have made, unconsciously, of course. But by that time, it is already too late because the subconscious mind has already given the external experience, the word that you had, cookie, a meaning. You ran it through your filters, maybe through past experiences, maybe you thought of your grandmother's cookies and you went back to an experience that had to do with those cookies. And you gave the experience a meaning, and perhaps you even started to crave cookies, and you thought, oh, a cookie would be really good, and I want a cookie right now. And next thing you know, you go to the corner store, maybe getting some cookies, or you start baking some cookies. So the subconscious mind doesn't know negative. Now, why am I stressing that point, and why is that important? It is important because in order for us to be successful, and we all define success differently, so I'm not defining success right at this moment, but we need to know what it is that we do want. What does success look like for us? Too often, people don't even realize that they're not aware of what that looks for them. That they don't necessarily know what it is that they do want. However, they have a very clear idea of what it is that they don't want. So let's say, for example, someone might say, I'm tired of being broke, and I don't want to be at the situation where I never have enough money at the end of the month, and I can't pay my bills, and I'm always running out of money. So what does the subconscious mind really hear here? It hears being broke, and it makes an association with being broke. It hears not being able to pay your bills, and your mind goes to, oh, what is not being able my bills look like? What does it feel like? Not having enough money. What does this feel like, and what does this look like? So rather than focusing on being poor or not having enough money, you want to focus on, I always have enough money. Money comes my way. I manage my money really well. I always pay all my bills on time and have money left over. So you want to start affirming and talking about what it is that you want to experience. Now, I remember one time my brother was challenging me here, and he was saying, well, if I say I don't have enough money, and the subconscious mind doesn't know a negative, doesn't that mean the subconscious mind will hear, I have enough money? Well, it would appear that way, wouldn't it? However, when you say the sentence, as I said, the subconscious mind has to give it a meaning, and it probably will go to an experience in your life when you didn't have enough money. And it will immediately make an association, and maybe the feelings that you felt back then when you didn't have enough money started to come up and you felt a certain feeling. So the subconscious mind doesn't know a negative. If you don't, or if you've never had the experience of having enough money, that's okay, because what you can do is you can imagine what it would feel like to have enough money. You could imagine what it might feel like paying your bills on time and having money left over. Now, if you've never experienced that and think, well, I don't know what that would feel like, what I would have you do is I would have you imagine a person that has enough money, that pays their bills on time. Imagine a person like that. Perhaps it's someone you know or someone you don't know, perhaps someone you aspire to be. And then just close your eyes for a moment and imagine what that person might feel like, how they feel when they know that they have enough money and what that feels like to them. And then just absorb those feelings. And that leads me to the next point, really, the subconscious mind. And let's see if that's the next point on my slide here. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between reality and, oh yeah, it is the wrong slide here. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between reality and imagination. And let me come back to that a second. Let me see if I can go here. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between reality and imagination. That is, for example, one of the reasons why you cry when you watch a sad movie. Well, consciously you know you don't have to cry because the movie is not real. But at that moment, the subconscious mind or the movie bypasses the critical part of the conscious mind, enters into the subconscious mind, and then the subconscious mind believes it to be real and responds as if it were real. So you start to cry. So that goes again back to that NLP model of communication. External event comes in, and then you filter it and you give it an internal representation. It changes your state of mind, and then also your physiology changes and you respond and behave according to that. So the subconscious mind does not know the difference between reality and imagination. So let me go back to that slide which just saw a moment ago, which is a wonderful quote by Mother Teresa, who really knew the meaning of the subconscious mind does not know the negative. And what she said, here we go. I was once asked why I don't participate in anti-war demonstrations. I said that I will never do that, but as soon as you have a pro-peace rally, I will be there. As long as we are focusing on anti-war, the mind still goes to war. Or the mind still, gives the word war meaning. However, if you are thinking about peace and pro-peace, then that is where the mind goes. Now, there are three different ways of how we program our subconscious mind. Number one, with language. We will talk a little bit more about that today. With imagination, and with, there's a typo, emotion that should be. So let's talk about language. And here's one of my absolutely favorite quotes by Neville, and it is, the seemingly harmless habit of talking to yourself, and there's another typo, is the most fruitful form of prayer. Two typos. Oh my God, you can tell I quickly put that slide together, so I apologize for that, and I will change that certainly. So let's talk about language for a moment. Now I want you to realize that every word that we use and every word that we say, the mind gives meaning to that word. And I want you to imagine that every word has a certain energy to it. Every word makes us feel a certain way. So if you are using words that the mind has made negative associations with, you're going to feel in a negative way, negatively. If you're using words that your mind has positive associations made with, you will feel more positively and more uplifted. So let me um, let me talk about it this way. Imagine when we are born, we all come with a completely blank slate. Some people may disagree with that, because a lot of people perceive that we are already taking information and feelings when we are in our mother's womb. But let's just go with when we are born, we start with a blank slate. And then as we grow older, there's certain words that we hear. So for example, we hear the word no, you can, and that makes us feel something. So maybe our parents are trying to warn us about something. So the subconscious mind hears that word, and it then gives it meaning after hearing it several times. And every word that we hear, we create a meaning around each word, and then each word has a certain energy to it. And the energy can be light and uplifting, or it can be heavy. So let's do a very quick experiment. So if you want to just go ahead and talk along with me, I want you to repeat some phrases or some words out loud, and just notice how those words make you feel. So here's some of them. I have to. I need to. I really should. Just repeat. I can't. I am not. I don't. Difficult. Problems. Impossible. I really should. I can't. I'm not. I really should. I know I have to. I need to. I'm not. Just notice how you feel. You may start feeling a heaviness, or maybe you feel a little stressed or a little anxious. So those words can cause you to feel that way, and we haven't even used sentences. We've just used phrases. So let's use some other phrases so you have a comparison. So repeat those again out loud after me. I choose to. I am. I can. Interesting. Opportunities. Possibilities. Easy. Effortless. I choose to. I can. I will. I do. I manifest. I can. It is my choice. I will. I choose to. I can. I am. Possibilities. Opportunities. It is my choice. I will. I do. I am. Now notice how differently that feels. Every word causes you to feel a certain way. And that is really today's main lesson I want you to take away. And the challenge that I have for you is I want you to become aware of your day-to-day language and what sort of language that you use on a daily basis. And just earlier today, I saw a client for a second appointment, and I gave him the same challenge, and he noticed a tremendous shift in the way he felt for the past week since he started changing his language. Now, here are the phrases I want you to become aware of and change. And there are three, so very, very easy. They are, I have to, I need to, and I should. Now, the reason why I'm choosing these three phrases is because when you say I have to, I need to, and I should, it presupposes to the subconscious mind that you do not have a choice. And when you feel like you don't have a choice or you don't get a say, how does that make you feel? Of course, it makes you feel stressed or anxious or pressure or whatever the feeling might be, but most certainly it's not going to make you feel good. So when, for example, you tell yourself, oh, I really should eat healthier, and I know I should clean out the garage, and I have to exercise more, and even easier things like, oh, I have to go pick up the kids, and then I really should go to the gym, and I need to pick up the dry cleaning, and then I should spend more time with the children, and I really should play with the dog more. And next thing you know, you're feeling overwhelmed, or you feel stressed, whatever the feeling might be, because there are all those things that you perceive you cannot change, all those things you're telling yourself you have to do, need to do, or should do, and that causes you to feel stressed because subconsciously you perceive you're not at choice. Reality is you are always at choice. You always have a choice. So the challenge is anytime and every time you find yourself using one of those three phrases, I have to, I need to, and I should, change it. Rephrase that sentence and use perhaps I choose to, or if I really wanted to, I could, or I'm going to. All of these presuppose a choice. Even if you say, I will pick up the dry cleaning. And if I really wanted to, I'm going to clean out the garage. And if I really wanted to, I could exercise more, or I choose to eat healthier today, or today I make a conscious decision to choose healthier foods. Now, all of these statements presuppose that you have a choice. And when you have a choice, and when you feel that you have a choice, you feel very, very different. And when you feel different, you will approach life in a very, very different way. So the way we use language causes us to feel a certain way, and when we feel a certain way, we approach life in a different way. Now, when we talk about positive affirmations, for example, positive affirmations are an amazing thing, a wonderful tool to have, and they're also very misunderstood, in my opinion. Positive affirmations, a lot of people think that, oh, I'll just say my positive affirmations, and then whatever I'm affirming is going to show up in my life. Yeah, that's not how it really works. You can affirm a red Ferrari in your driveway all day long. It's not going to show up by miracle unless you have a visitor that drives a red Ferrari and parks it there. But here is what affirmations are all about. Affirmations are here to make you feel good. They're here to make you feel better. And when you feel good and when you feel better, you are on a different level of consciousness. You are on what we call a higher vibrational level. You approach life very differently. And when you're in that more positive outlook and you're approaching life differently, you respond to experiences differently. You start noticing things that you may not notice if you were on a different vibrational level. If you are, for example, on the vibrational level of God, life is so awful, and it always, I'm in San Diego, it's so awful, it always is sunny, and it is hot, and, it's just absolutely horrible. If you're on that vibrational level, then you're going to feel depressed, and you're not going to see the positive side. But if you switch onto a different vibrational level where you see, oh, the wonderful thing about having this weather is that I can be outdoors all the time. And now I'm looking for new activities and things that I can do outdoors. So I'm shifting my level of consciousness around to something else, from, oh, this is miserable, to um, this is a wonderful thing. Or you could decide, you know what, if I don't like sunny weather, I can move somewhere else. I'll move to Seattle where it rains more, or what have you. So the idea is, for as long as you are on a certain vibration, like as long as you are on channel 4, you only see what's on channel 4. If you want to see what's on channel 6, you have to switch channels. So if you want to have different experiences, you need to switch your consciousness. You need to change the thoughts that you have. Having different thoughts will create different experiences. And when we have thoughts, we also want to think about how do we express those thoughts. You want to use that positive language, expressing your thoughts to yourself, your experience, expressing them in the most positive language that you can. And that will make you feel differently. We could have 5 people in the exact same room having the exact same experience. However, they probably, when they talk about the experience, they will probably give us 5 different stories. So make your experience the ones that benefit you most. So for example, somebody may say, well, I don't know if I believe, this or that yet. And I always say, well, it doesn't really matter if you believe it yet. What has to be there first? Do we have to see something first in order to believe that it exists? Or do we have to believe in something first in order to manifest it or bring it into reality? If you think about any invention that has ever been, made, it existed first in someone's mind, and someone believed in it, then eventually it started to happen. So when you do affirmations, it's okay if you don't believe it yet. And that anyway is your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination, and it will believe it anyway. Now, I want to close with reviewing the challenge and then another wonderful quote. So the challenge is, I have to, I need to, I should. I want you to remove them completely from your language to the best that you can. And if you find that's your bonus homework. If you find other phrases that are negative or low in that energy level, like problem, you can replace it with the word challenge. It feels very different. Or I can't, or I have to. I have to, we talked about that. I can't. I'll say, I can. Perhaps I can. So find language that's negative or less than positive, as I'd like to call it, and start changing that, and notice how that makes you feel. So let's close with a quote that is very, very old, but it is it has so much truth to it. And here it is. The thought manifests as the word. The word manifests as the deed. The deed develops into habit, and habit hardens into character. So watch the thought and its ways with care, and let it spring from love, born out of concern for all beings. As the shadow follows the body, as we think, so we become. As you can see, it is a very old quote. It is one of my favorite quotes, and so much truth in that quote. So I hope you enjoyed what we talked about today, the wisdom. We talked a little bit about the mind. We talked how the mind processes information. It was the NLP model of communication. We talked a little bit about what NLP, Neuro-linguistic programming, stands for. We talked about the different functions of the conscious and the subconscious mind. We spoke that the mind is programmed with imagination, language, and emotions. We started talking about language a little bit and how we program ourselves with language. And I gave you some homework. So I hope you are taking on the challenge of your homework, and I hope to see you again next week at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Send me an email. Let me know how you're doing with your homework, and I look absolutely forward. When it comes to changing language, I'm doing one thing myself. When someone asks me to do, when somebody asks me, "Hi Christian, how you doing?" I get into habit of saying and answering better and better every day in every way. And that sounds quite good. It makes me feel good. So maybe you want to adapt that too. Have a wonderful, amazing day, because it is in your power, it is in your control to have it and make it an amazing day. So until next time, I say goodbye, and I will see you soon.